Hello Tirath, my name's Birmingham. I'm the Regional Manager for the Specialist Employability Support Contract for the West Midlands, and I'm just going to ask you a few questions today about how we've supported you since you've been with us. Okay, so how long have you been working with Kennedy Scott?
So it was in September. It was the 25th that I first met Jill. Yeah, from Kennedy Scott. That was the first time I met her. I was really interested. We went through loads of different details. She helped me find a job. She helped me book BSL interpreters. It was a really quick process, so it was fantastic.
Okay, so specifically, can you tell me about the support that Jill's giving you to enable you to find your job and to make you successful in gaining your employment?
Yeah, so at the job centre I was finding it really, really difficult to look for jobs. But at Kennedy Scott I was able to get a job when I thought I'd give it a try. So with Jill, I met her and with the job centre advisor, and I said, I've been finding it so difficult to find a job, I've been spending years looking, and I really, really wanted to do administration work. So I contacted Jill and she's been fantastic. She's helped my confidence loads.
And what has Jill done?
Well, she helped me book BSL interpreters, she helped me look for jobs, so she helped me find what jobs are available, she helped me book interpreters for my interviews, and lots of other things.
Okay, and since you've been successful in starting work, what support has Jill given you to stay there?
She always comes in just to make sure that I'm doing okay at work, to make sure that I'm happy. She makes sure I've got BSL interpreters booked, and that I've got note takers coming in regularly. Yeah, so everything's gone really smoothly. She's made sure that if anything's happened, you know, she's always ready to call people to make sure interpreters come if that's been necessary. So it's been lovely. I'm really happy.
Do you want to tell me about what your experiences were when you were trying to find a job before joining Kennedy Scott?
Yeah, first time I started looking for a job, that was with the job centre. So I was trying to look for a job, and I really loved admin work and always had, so I tried really hard with that, but it was so tricky. I had to keep going into the job centre, and I kept researching for jobs. I hadn't really been successful with any of the jobs, and I kept getting refused for them. And then they said I had to go to and I thought, oh goodness, I'm going to have to go there, but I did agree, so I did a year there and signed on there. But I didn't get anything successful from that either for the whole year. Then in the end I had to go back to the job centre and say, look, I did that, and that wasn't successful either. So then we did another 6 months of struggling to look for jobs at the job centre, and then I looked at, I think it's the company name, so I went there for support, and the communication there wasn't very good. I said, you know, where's my support to be able to communicate with my advisor? They just got me to write things down, and they didn't really take me seriously. I felt like they were wasting my time, really. So then I went back to the job centre and said, look, they weren't very good either. And they often said about having to make phone calls. They said communication with me was difficult. So I carried on at the job centre and then went and that wasn't very far from the Manor House in Wolverhampton, so it's quite central. And I had an interpreter there. Bob managed to book an interpreter there for me. So I think it was about 3 weeks worth I had booked. Yes, they had my name on the system. And then when I asked where the interpreter was, they realised they hadn't found one. But it was booked 3 weeks in advance, so that was just one of the frustrations I faced. And then trying to communicate then without an interpreter was so difficult because I couldn't lip read. And they were saying, oh, you need to bring a CV with you need to have brought this with you, but it was so difficult to communicate. Yeah, so communication was really, really difficult. And then I went back to the job centre again, and I said, were really difficult, they didn't help, there wasn't an interpreter. And then at the job centre they said again, you know, oh, we did book an interpreter for that, or we thought we did. So it's just a lot of time wasting, really, going backwards and forwards, because they kept not booking interpreters for a whole month. I kept going and they said, oh yeah, there's an interpreter booked, and I'd get there and I still didn't have a way to communicate with them. So when I went back to Bob, I think he realised I was right, and that wasn't the right service for me and it didn't suit me. but it made me quite low, quite depressed, really stressed, to be honest, going through the struggles. And then Bob researched a different place, and it was Kennedy Scott that he found, and since then the support's been brilliant. I've had so many successes in this short time. So when I said, oh, you know, it's a bit far to travel, it was agreed that people could come to me and there would be different services that would suit my needs, and I've just been really happy with how things have gone so far, and Jill's been a fantastic support, which is why I think this has been exactly the right support that I needed. I've had support with interviews. Jill's always made sure that she's contacted the employer to say that I'm deaf and I need support before my interviews. So she's done everything right, and it's been fantastic. I got a job in care first initially, but I didn't really like that. And then the second job I got was in the job that I'm in at the moment, and I really, really love that. I love the admin work there. And at first it was really quite new, and I thought, gosh, communication is going to be really difficult. But steadily, with support from interpreters and the team, we've set up a way of communicating now, so everyone's signing good morning and good afternoon, and we're joking with each other. And it's a really lovely, friendly team. So I've really enjoyed work. It's been fantastic, and I'm really happy there. And Jill always comes to check up on me, and she's often making a lot of phone calls for things, but I've been really happy with it. So I've really enjoyed it. And I hope in the future I can be successful as well at Flat World Works. So just big thanks really to Kennedy Scott, and thanks to Jill and the other managers here. It's been fantastic. I think this is the best support in the world.
Okay. So Flat World Works started approximately 5 years ago. The company is based on a concept that the world was getting flatter, and that not only were our competitors becoming global, but also we would need to compete with the world. So we wanted to see how we could make this flat world work for us, hence the name Flat World Works. We've steadily grown from nothing to a multinational company, and our turnover has risen over time by more than tenfold. And our staff has quadrupled in the last year with a mix of permanent and associated resources, hence why it was important that Tirath was allowed to come on board and communicate with us, and for her to communicate with us and us to communicate with her in a succinct manner. We cater for a growing digital market, and it's very fast-paced and highly motivated team. We deal with recruiting digital specialists, training for digital roles and services, and digital development and test services, including those in security. Tirath and our venue over at the Science Park is central to helping us expand our growth, and Tirath's knowledge, both in bookkeeping and with her deaf awareness, will help our company grow further. We're really pleased to have her on board.
Right then, we've been successful in getting Tirath into employment. Do you want to tell everyone what we did?
Okay, so Tirath has been an asset to the company. Initially, when she started back in December, we were wondering what measures we'd need to put into place into our office environment to ensure that we could get adequate and appropriate conversations and communications with Tirath. So we put Tirath on a work experience placement with us for a couple of weeks, of which she was really successful, and we gave Tirath the opportunity of full employment at the beginning of January, the 18th of January 2016. Since she's come on board, and with the help of yourselves, we've been able to include Tirath with communications across whole team meetings, with one-to-ones. Jill, you've been good in supporting us with interpreters as well as note takers. And we also discussed for the first couple of weeks of Tirath starting for her to have almost reduced working environment to get her up to speed with some of the tasks that she'd be asked to do, which are mainly to do with sort of bookkeeping and admin, which is what Tirath's passion is, and what she's come across as being really good at doing. You've been on the end of the phone or via email if we've needed to book interpreters last minute. Sometimes with the nature of our company, we will have meetings or new projects that come on board really quickly, so it was important that Tirath got all the information along with the rest of us in the office appropriately. Also as well, because we are a smallish team in the office, if one of us is off either for annual leave or sickness, it's important that other people are able to pick up their role. So although Tirath's predominantly in the bookkeeping side of the office, there will be times where she'll need to come over to recruitment, and we've made sure, and you've helped us along the way, of getting those lines of communication appropriately to her. We've created a Bible now, some written evidence, which Tirath finds one of the best ways of absorbing information, and so we've got that in the recruitment side of things should Tirath need to use that. And Tirath's also designing her own written communication, her own written Bible for the bookkeeping side of things, so that if people are to come on board in the future, she can produce that and almost give them some pinpointers on what to learn. So it's a two-way communication process that we've sorted.
Another thing that's been really good is we did all the work to get the access to work sorted out.
We did.
We've got the work placement assessment scheduled for tomorrow on the 19th. That will finish off all the support that's needed, which is great.
It is, it will be great.
Just one final question. What effect is it having on the rest of your team members? Because I know you're doing lots of things to help Tirath, and Tirath is helping you guys. So will you explain what that is?
She is. Okay. So when we initially had Tirath on board through work experience, quite a few of us in the office were really interested in getting some deaf awareness training on board, which is something that we're hoping Access to Work will be able to provide, or at least point us in the right direction tomorrow. We all enjoy Tirath's sunny disposition, and we were all starting to sign good morning or good night, and some of us are really keen to make sure that we're all aware.
And one final point then, Tirath, what would you like to say?
I just think it's been brilliant support, so thanks so much for all your help, and thanks for Kennedy Scott. They've been fantastic. I think they're the best in the world. I mean, I found it so difficult with job centres, and I've had other experiences and things in other places, but you've just been fantastic with all the support you've given. You've helped me with so many different things. You helped me with interviews when I was really scared. You gave me some, interview practice even when it was quite close to the date. So you've really sorted things out for me, and you've helped book interpreters. And you've made sure that I've had the same in person a lot. I didn't want lots of different interpreters coming in, so you've ensured that I've had lots of regular interpreters. That's been great. And obviously I've been successful in getting the job, which is fantastic, so thanks for your lovely support. You always made sure as well that I'd get to the interview, you were always waiting for me, so you'd always ask, how did the interview go? And I could say, I wasn't sure if it was good or not. So you've been fantastic, and when I got the job I know we were both elated, so yeah, it's been fantastic.
Thank you very much, Tirath and Miriam. It's been a pleasure working with both of you.